Hello again. I thought it would be appropriate today, as tomorrow is Guy Fawkes night, to draw attention to an unfortunate trend which I have noticed in recent years, which is that the law of Britain is sometimes being framed differently for ethnic minority communities than it is for those of us born in this country and whose families have lived here for centuries. As I'm sure we all know, Guy Fawkes Night celebrates the discovery and thwarting of the Gunpowder Plot in 1605. This was a scheme by Catholics to kill the king and destroy Parliament. In other words, it's a celebration of the supremacy of Protestantism as embodied by the Church of England and the defeat of a Catholic conspiracy. Although we seldom think about it in those terms, it is essentially a religious festival. In the Sussex town of Lewes, for instance, a central feature of Bonfire Night has been the burning of an effigy of the Pope. For most of us, of course, fireworks are the main attraction. There are laws governing the setting off of fireworks. For example, generally speaking, you can't let them off after 11 o'clock at night, and you certainly can't set them off in the street. On Guy Fawkes Night, it is illegal to set off fireworks after midnight. There's a special dispensation. You can let them off an hour later than usual. So tomorrow night you can set off fireworks to your heart's content until midnight. I give a link to the relevant legislation, the Fireworks Regulation 2004, in the description to this video as usual. Tomorrow is fireworks night and we have to stop letting off our fireworks at midnight. So far so good. Today is, of course, Diwali Day for Hindus, and they, unlike the British, are allowed by law to continue setting off fireworks until 1 o'clock in the morning. I hope we all get that. Tonight, Indians living in Britain can detonate fireworks until 1 in the morning, but our own traditional Guy Fawkes celebrations have to end tomorrow night an hour earlier than that. Does anybody find that a little odd that British law should distinguish in that way between what we may do and what immigrant communities might be allowed to do? The same applies to Chinese New Year, of course. If you are Chinese, you can set off fireworks until 1 in the morning on that day. Have a look at the link I give if you find this hard to believe. We all have to be safely tucked up in bed tomorrow by midnight and stop celebrating a centuries-old tradition in this country which has religious significance. But Indians may tonight carry on with firework displays until 1 in the morning. I mention this because there's increasing pressure for the British legal system to recognise other legal systems, those being used in certain immigrant communities, for example Muslim sharia courts, and to make them part of the state system by establishing a regulatory framework and accepting that they're part of the country's judicial system. What is driving this movement? In the description to this video, I also give a link to a research paper published 5 months ago by Birmingham University. This recommends that Sharia courts should somehow be accepted by the British legal system. The grounds advanced by this are truly extraordinary. Let me read out a sentence from the paper. Obtaining a legal marriage in the UK is often described as bewildering. I will pause for a moment at this point and ask viewers to reflect upon this idea. Hand on heart, have any viewers ever in their lives heard anybody describe arranging to get married in the United Kingdom as bewildering? Yet it is apparently often described in this way. By whom, one wonders? The explanation for this untruthful assertion will be made a little plainer when I read out the entire sentence. Obtaining a legal marriage in the UK is often described as bewildering because of how outdated, restrictive and exclusionary to minority religions and beliefs the wedding laws currently are, which neither accommodate nor reflect the multicultural makeup of the modern UK. This seems to suggest that it is immigrants who find arranging a wedding in this country bewildering. That can't really be true either, because atheists, humanists, Catholics, Greek Orthodox Christians, and indeed any sort of Christian generally, along with Hindus, Jews, Parsis, Jains, Sikhs, Taoists and Confucians, don't seem to find the process bewildering at all. They all manage to get married without any difficulty. Of course, it is Muslims who are finding it hard. I can't imagine why. All they need to do is pop down to the local register office like everybody else, or if they wish, they can get married in the local mosque. In 2018, the then Home Secretary Amber Rudd presented to Parliament a report entitled The Independent Review into the Application of Sharia Law in England and Wales. We might ask ourselves at this point, should there even be any application of Sharia law in England and Wales? The recommendation was that the government recognise Sharia courts and work with them. This is a terrible idea. Other religions have their own systems for regulating religious matters. There's the Jewish Bet Din, for instance, but there has never been any suggestion that its rulings should have the British government's seal of approval. Why should they? I believe that every citizen of Britain should be equally under the law, the same law, whether Christian, atheist, Muslim, Jew or Hindu. I find the idea that Hindus should have special laws allowing them to set off fireworks late at night as scandalous. As too do I view the idea of the British legal system working with Muslim religious courts. We do need to keep an eye on this sort of thing.